Pardon me while I drive. This video is a video that Tim had asked me to do yesterday about, is there anything in gaming that I think is too weird or controversial, or basically off limits sort of in my games, that I try to avoid basically. As a player, it takes a lot for me to be uncomfortable, I think, in a game. I'm pretty comfortable with most things. However, I think sometimes people tend to, try to push the envelope a little bit just for shock value. Sort of reminds me of pro wrestling in the late 90s where, hey, let's put a lot of blood in it, or let's put scantily clad women on TV just for the shock factor. And I don't think that's a good practice in most forms of entertainment. For instance, in role-playing games, I will never, as a DM, have rape. I might insinuate it somehow, but I will never outright cover rape in my game. I won't have, there's no reason for, brothels and things like that, in my opinion, in games. It just doesn't add anything, in my opinion. You can tell a good story without having to get vulgar or disgusting in a game. And I think people forget these things. I think, I've played in games where it's like, oh, the naked women run from the room. Well, you could have just had a woman run from the room. She didn't have to be naked, and it just doesn't add anything. There's no value added to the game. It doesn't add to the experience. If anything, it can make people uncomfortable. So those are the things I try to avoid. I also, when I'm running a game or playing, I try to avoid swearing personally. Every now and then I'll swear, I guess, but I don't think adding, a bunch of swear words adds to the environment either. I think there's, with all the words in the dictionary, we can get our point across without having to swear all the time. As for too weird, nothing's really too weird or creepy or anything like that. I just try to avoid certain things that I don't personally think add value to a game. So, that's just the way I do it. Now, if I'm playing in a game and the DM's doing it, that's fine. I'm not going to say anything. But, if it doesn't add value to the game, then what's the point? So, that's it, though. I like to try and change things up in my games, though. In fact, Jenny brought up a good point yesterday, or a good question, about how to reflect the ceiling. I think the ceiling caving in. And I had just watched a video shortly before that by Fritz40K about how he did this freezing effect. And, some people have had some good ideas. And I think that's a good way to mix things up in your encounters. And, you can do things, for instance, in the freezing situation that are weird, or you can be gross in a game. And I think that can add to, a game. But like I said, I don't think just adding vulgarity and controversial topics is a good way. I also try to avoid, I don't do political games. I try to stay out of political intrigue type games. That doesn't mean there won't be like something political in the game. I just mean like, I don't need people having political debates at my table, I don't... Politics, yes, I vote, by the way. I just don't think something that can egg people on politically at my table is something I want to do. It's a conversation I try not to have with a bunch of my friends. for instance, in Captain America, you know, the new one, there was a comment in that, and people are running with it and making it a political thing now. And I heard people in the theater talk about it, and after leaving the theater the other day, talk about it politically. So anyways, that's it. So I try to avoid anything that can cause problems out of game between me and my players and me and my friends, basically. But that's it. I mean, and I try to think about if it adds value to the game or not. So that's it. Thanks. Bye.